Hello. Welcome to the Tracy Show. Well, looky. I knew something else had to be going on. Nicole Dadon, the founder and former CEO of One Taste, left. She to the left. And Rachel Sherwitz, One Taste former head of sales, she to the right, exit a federal court in New York on May 6, 2025. So, y'all, roundabout there in court, right, when Diddy in court, right? But ain't nobody heard about y'all. But I'm going to tell them about y'all because you two have similar charges. Yeah, you do. Oh, they thought they were going to hide y'all with Diddy. Tracy Nation, I got you covered. This is a story for you. The leaders of a U.S. sex-focused women's wellness company that promoted orgasmic meditation have been convicted of federal forced labor charges. A Brooklyn jury on Monday, not today, found Nicole Dadon, founder of One Taste Inc., and Rachel Sherwitz, the California-based company former sales director, guilty after deliberating for less than 2 days, following a 5-week trial. I didn't hear anything about this. The two each face up to 20 years in prison, with sentencing due later. So let's get into it.
Deficit disorder in this country. There is a cure, and that cure is orgasm.
That's Nicole Dadon, the founder of the sexual wellness company One Taste, which taught the practice of orgasmic meditation, a partnered experience which involves manual female genital stimulation that the company said would help members achieve enlightenment.
The viewers watching who may are learning about you and One Taste for the first time, and they hear orgasmic meditation, and they think it just sounds wild to them. What do you say to your critics? Well, I would say it sounded wild to me, too. I mean, come on, it sounds crazy. But there was something that said, no, really do, with transparency and openness.
Over 13 years, Dadon built One Taste into a $12 million business with thousands of members, even endorsements from celebrities like Gwyneth Paltrow and Khloe Kardashian. But last year, New York prosecutors charged Dadon and a One Taste executive with 1 count each of forced labor conspiracy. Dadon sat down with Top Story in an exclusive interview ahead of her trial this January, where she faces up to 20 years behind bars if convicted.
What do you say to the charge against you? Oh, it's not true. It's definitely not true.
Trauma forced One Taste members into debt by opening lines of credit to finance courses, subjected them to constant surveillance, had them sleep in communal homes and share beds, groomed members to engage in sexual acts with investors and clients, and encouraged them to allegedly limit contact with people outside of the organization.
I'm going to just say it. It's a boilerplate indictment. We were rooted 100% in consent. If I talk to you about the practice, from the very moment that I would say to you, would you like to own? You can say yes or no. No is a perfectly acceptable answer. It's all based in consent. We had an ethics committee. This is the antithesis of what this company was.
Some of the most high-profile celebrity cases in recent years, from R. Kelly, Bill Cosby to Harvey Weinstein, says her client was simply swept up in the Me Too movement.
I do not think anyone would be interested in what
Nicole's life practice was, what One Taste was doing without the Me Too movement. That's my personal view on it. And I think it was driven by media coverage that was not fair, that was not vetted, that was salacious, that was designed to rile people up.
Fletcher blames the 2022 Netflix documentary Orgasm Inc. about Daydone, which interviewed former One Taste members who said that they were subjected to a toxic environment, even brainwashed.
People were getting hurt. People were getting hurt badly.
Ex-members would describe something that might look at and think like, oh, you were being told to have sex with a customer in the hopes that that would pay money to the company.
People were psychologically brutal with each other.
The article that I am about to read from is dated June 9th of 2025. And I will not read the entire article, but I will read the verdicts, the most important part. Joseph Nicola Jr., United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, and Christopher G. Rea, Assistant Director in charge of Federal Bureau of Investigation, New York Office, FBI, announced the verdict. The jury's verdict has unmasked Daydon and Sherwitz for who they truly are: grifters who preyed on vulnerable victims by making promises of sexual empowerment and wellness only to manipulate them into performing labor and services for the defendant's benefit, stated United States Attorney Nicola. I commend the witnesses who testified at trial, notwithstanding the trauma that they experienced at the defendant's direction. It is my hope that the just conclusion of this process will bring them closure, and that future charlatans think twice about exploiting human beings in this manner. Today's verdict sends a clear message: controlling your labor force by relying on lies, manipulation, and abuse is a crime. The victims in this case were offered sexual empowerment and wellness as a pathway to healing past trauma, but instead received various forms of abuse and manipulation on behalf of Daydon and Cherowitz for the financial benefit of One Taste. The FBI will continue to ensure those responsible for forced labor schemes are made to answer for their crimes, stated FBI Assistant Director in charge Rea. One Taste was a privately held company founded by Daydon in 2004. Its principal place of business was San Francisco. As proven at trial between 2006 and 2018, Daydon and Sherwitz obtained the labor and services of multiple young women who had turned to One Taste for healing and spirituality by coercing them to perform labor, including sexual labor, for the defendant's benefit. One Taste advertised that its courses and teachings could heal past sexual trauma and dysfunction. Daydon and Sherwitz used abusive and manipulative tactics designed to control One Taste members by making them emotionally and psychologically dependent on One Taste, including encouraging them to incur debt by opening lines of credit to finance the expensive courses, subjecting them to consistent surveillance in communal homes, collecting sensitive information about their prior trauma and sexual histories, depriving them of sleep, and subjecting them to sexual abuse. Once they had secured the loyalty and indebtedness of certain One Taste members, Daydon and Sherwitz engaged in abusive employment practices. They directed One Taste members to work long hours, 7 days per week, with little or no compensation. That work included manual labor and the provision of actual services. For example, Deadon and Cherowitz coerced their victims to actually service One Taste current and prospective investors, clients, and employees for the financial benefit of the company. 3 witnesses testified about how they were coerced into becoming a handler for One Taste's initial investor, who was also Deadon's boyfriend, which required them to live with him, perform demeaning sex acts at his direction, and cook for him. Multiple other witnesses testified that they were coerced under the threat of termination, demotion, ostracism, and financial and spiritual ruin. When sentenced, Deadon and Sherwitz each face up to 20 years in prison. And again, if you would like to know more about this story, you can go to Netflix and watch the documentary, which is called Orgasmic Inc., the story of One Taste. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. And guys, on the way out, do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment and let me know if you heard anything about this story, or if you heard anything about the trial. What are your thoughts and opinions? Do you think that this case is similar to Diddy's case? Sort of? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. And again, on Netflix, it's called Orgasmic Inc. Thank you for watching.